Hi, everybody, and welcome back to LO Sports TV. This is episode 2 of the series Bonded by Boxing. With me on the show today, I've got in the house Mr. Daryl Lyle of the Boxing Lowdown. How you doing today, Daryl?
Oh, I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, man. Not too bad. Today, we're going to talk about Tank Davis, many people's face of boxing, not necessarily mine or yours, but a lot of people proclaim him the face of boxing, especially in America. Now, he'll be defending his, I think it's his WBA lightweight title on the 1st of March against Lamont Roach, who is I think he's the WBA super featherweight champion, just the weight below. That fight's happening on March the 1st in New York. They had the press conference for it the other day, quite an eventful press conferences, as Tank's press conferences usually are. So Tank Davis, 30 years old, 30-0, 28 KOs. We know he's a big puncher, but he can box as well. Lamont Roach shouldn't be overlooked entirely. He's 29 years old. He's out of Washington. 27 fights, 25 wins. 1 loss to Jamahal Herring and 1 draw. But he is a world champion in his own right. Daryl, just very quickly, tell me about this fight. What do you think? I can see you're not impressed.
Yeah, listen, not to discredit Lamont Roach, of course. I mean, he's got a distinguished amateur background. He's established himself as a professional. For me, I'm just, and I know my friends will probably be watching this. They're huge Tank Davis fans. So they probably won't like what I'm about to say, but I'm just not infused. I'm not infused. I'm not infused by Tank Davis at the moment. Listen, as a fighter, he's terrific to watch. He's got brilliant one-punch knockout power. Very entertaining inside the ring. Some will say outside the ring too. He's
certainly a character.
He's got a huge following, and it's deserved. He's one of the faces of boxing. But for me personally, it's not a fight that I called for, and I feel like we're going over the same thing with Tank once again. It's not a fight that anyone called for, but he'll do it anyway. I think Tank's at a stage now in his career where, we'll probably talk about that a bit later as to where he's at. But, maybe he's got one foot out the door. Maybe he's not as passionate about boxing as, other fighters out there, which is totally down to him. You know what I mean? It's a prize fighting at the end of the day. You need to go out and get your money and get out with your health intact. So nothing against him on that standpoint. But when I say that, that don't mean that I have to, cheer for him or root for him. I'm not rooting against him, but I'm just saying, if I'm not seeing the fight that I want to see, then it's, whatever to me.
No, I hear you, man. I mean, a lot of what you said there is correct. I mean, Tank is a fantastic fighter. There's no doubt about it. I remember him when he first come to this country, he took the title of one of the Walsh brothers, Liam Walsh, I think it was. And they fought for the title. And Liam Walsh was a good fighter at that time, and Tank totally cleaned him out. And people were saying beforehand, I remember the likes of Steve Bunce saying, oh, if Tank Davis is not on it, there could be an upset here. And Tank went out and totally destroyed him in his own backyard, pretty much. So we know the talent is there. He was a highly decorated amateur. He's turned pro in a blaze of publicity. And to be fair, he's lived up to that to a large degree. He's very exciting, punches very hard with either hand. Does have a certain personality outside the ring. If you like him, you like him. If you don't like him, you don't like him, if that makes sense. In that time as well, he's annexed several world titles at different weights. He's a multi-divisional champion. Like I said, man, he's got the lot in terms of ability and punching power. But I think the common knock on him is that he's not fighting the types of guys that his talent suggests that he should do. And as you also said, Daryl, the fights that people like yourself want to see. Notably, there was the ducking of Lomachenko, and it's got to be called a duck because that's exactly what it was. There was a lot of talks of him fighting Lomachenko a few years back now, and he appeared not to want it. At the time, he was being managed and promoted by Floyd Mayweather, and Floyd was actually public in saying that Tank is not ready for him, which a lot of people were surprised about because you're like, hey, this is Tank Davis here, man. He's supposed to be a superstar. You know what I mean? Loma's actually getting on in years. That should have been a fight that you should jump to take. I mean, to be fair, Teofimo took it and beat Loma. You know what I mean? And that kind of made Tank look bad a little bit. And as you said, Daryl, there's been some fights he's had where you're thinking, okay, it's an all right fight, man. But if you're as good as you say you are, or what people are telling us you are, you should really be going in at that real elite level. And he's not really done that. So I get that. But I'm not hating on this fight as much. I do think Lamont Roach, okay, he's coming up in weight, but he is a good fighter. He's a former standout as an amateur. He's won a world title. The other good thing about this fight is that it's a bit of a local derby. Tank is from Baltimore. Lamont Roach is from Washington. They're very close in proximity. So it will sell. I'm sure it will sell. And I'm sure Tank will win. I mean, let's be honest. As you said, Daryl, a lot of his fights are kind of pretty easy to predict. But I do think Lamont Roach is a decent opponent.
And that's the issue. Like, you know, for his talent and what it suggests, where he could potentially get to. I have arguments with my friends all the time because they're massive, diehard Tank fans. So they'll say, "Oh, Tank will beat Devin Haney. He'll beat Teofimo Lopez. He'll beat whoever. Like, he'll beat this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, and he might because his talent is that good. Do you know what I mean? But we're just not seeing it. So it's got to the point where I'm so tired of arguing about it. I'm knowing I'm not going to see the fights that we talk about at barbecues, in the bar, whatever. Like, I know I'm not going to see it. So now I'm just like, whatever. You know, Tank's going to be in a good fight here. This is nothing against Lamont Roach. I think he'll beat him. But the fights that I want to see him in, Tank has got no interest in it. He's publicly said
Who do you want to see him fight? Who do you want to see?
Shakur Stevenson. And when that question was asked to him, it's like he gets angry at you for asking.
He literally
like, sorry
does.
for asking, man. We just want to see the best fight the best.
Yeah.
That's it.
He seems to take personal affront when people ask him to fight.
He takes it to heart, man. It's like, can we not ask? Are we not allowed to ask you to fight Shakur Stevenson? A fight that you could most certainly win. It'll be a tough one, but you could win it. You could beat Devin Haney. I'm sure most people would pick him to beat Haney. Teofimo Lopez would be a fantastic fight, but
he did beat Ryan Garcia though, fairly conclusively.
He did. It was an outstanding body shot to end it, outclassed him. And you know what I don't like though is that fighter A beats fighter B, so he could beat fighter C. We saw that with Brad Pauls and Denzel Bentley. Brad Pauls beat Nathan Heaney. However, Brad Pauls then lost to Denzel Bentley, who in turn lost to Nathan Heaney, right? So because Tank beat Ryan Garcia and Ryan Garcia defeated Devin Haney, that means it's, Tank will definitely beat Devin Haney. So, well, let's just see it. You know, there's nothing wrong with asking to see these fights. That's all.
Absolutely not. And the other knock on Tank is that he tends to weight drain his opponents. He puts in place these stipulations, rehydration clauses and stuff like that. A lot of people are not too happy about that. But listen, man, he's a very exciting fight. Me personally, I've rarely seen a fighter that gets so much torque out of their punches. When I say torque, I don't mean talk as in talk. I'm talking torque as in TORQUE, like the physical dynamics of his punching power, man, is something. He gets so much power.
He's an outstanding puncher.
Yeah, so he's a great individual. What do you think? I mean, just quickly, because we've got a finite amount of time. He announced at the press conference, kind of took everyone by surprise. He said, look, man, after this fight with Lamont Roach, I'll be out of boxing within a year. So he's basically said the end of 2025, he's exiting the sport. Now, two questions for you, Daryl. I know time is running. A, do you believe him? And B, why do you think that is? If he is going to retire.
No, I don't believe him. I feel like maybe it could be just talk to push this fight with Lamont Roach.
But he did look genuinely fed up when he's talking about boxing. He kept saying things like boxing is trash. I've got no motivation for this sport anymore.
We'll see.
So do you think he could be right. Going through a period? I mean, he has had problems outside the ring. We know he's had some high-profile court cases, domestic abuse. There was the hit and run car accident that he did some jail time for. So his headspace has been a little bit all over the place in recent years. Do you think all the stress has caught up with him a little bit?
Yeah, potentially. He's been through a lot, to be fair to him, in terms of his personal life. He's got kids now, he's got a family, and he's in real estate, which is great. We all want to see boxers get into something outside the ring when they do retire. Yeah. So if that's the case, great. But, just going by history and, fighters say that they're going to retire, or how many fighters have said they'll retire by a certain age and they don't do it. So I'm just going off that as well. Well, it remains to be seen.
So you don't think he'll retire?
No.
Definitely not, no. I happen to agree with you. I don't think he'll retire either. I think he could be voicing his frustration. That may be in the back of his mind. But I don't think so. I mean, obviously he's made a lot of money out of boxing, but you know, when there's more money to be made, I mean, he's turned down Turkey Al Sheikh. In fact, he's one of the few people that have done that. Him and Canelo have turned down big money offers, but I can't see him exiting the sport. Yeah, especially if he beats Lamont Roach, there's going to be clamors for him to fight all manner of different people: Ryan Garcia, Teofimo Lopez, host of big fight. Everyone's going to want to fight him because they know it'll be a big payday for them. And there are some glamour fights out there. I'm also hearing a rumor, and listen, this is a rumor. I don't know how true it is, so listen, don't shoot the messenger. But there's a rumor out there that he's in debt with the IRS, which, for those of you uninitiated, the IRS is basically the American tax man. They're saying that he's in tune debt-wise of about upwards of $3 million, which is a lot of money by anyone's standards. So if that is the case, then, you know, I mean, he might have to fight on whether he likes it or not. And that always puts fighters in a bit of a dangerous situation, because if you're doing something that you don't really want to do and you're only doing it because of money, then that task becomes infinitely harder, if you see what I mean. So I don't know, man. And he let's face it, Tank is a kind of, how can I put it? He's a bit of a maverick character, isn't he? He's very hard to predict. He will come out and say and do things that you think, oh, that's a bit weird. You know what I mean? So who knows with this guy? What we do know is he's a fantastic talent, but we also know he does have a flawed character as well. So I do agree with you. I don't think he will retire. I do think he'll beat Lamont Roach, and I think there'll be some big fights in 2020, 2025 even for him. What do you say about that?
Yeah, I agree. It's just down if he wants to take him or not. I think he could beat all of them. That's the thing with Tank. He's got a chance against all of them. He's got that much talent, tremendous punching power. It's just if he wants to take him or not. Time will tell. But yeah, I think he'll be in a good fight against Roach, but I can only see him winning it. And then where he goes from there, I guess, is up to him. He operates to the beat of his own drum. He's not going to listen to what you say, what I say, what anyone says. He's going to do what
he's not even listening to Calvin Ford at the moment, his trainer, because there's rumors that Calvin Ford might not be training him for the upcoming fight with Lamont Roach. But just a quick question, as I said before, I'm aware of time. If he is to beat Lamont Roach, which most of the boxing world predict that he will, and he does announce his retirement soon after or at the end of 2025, what do you think his legacy will be? Unfulfilled, or do you think he'll go down as one of the all-time greats, or what? Or one of the modern greats?
In terms of just pure boxing legacy, didn't fulfill his potential and what he could have done. But in terms of his standings and, you know, his stature in the sport, you know, how big he's become, he's had a fantastic career in that sense, in terms of his earnings, his popularity, and I mean, he's been a multi-weight world champion. So yeah, in that sense, unbelievable. But in terms of, you know, where his potential could have got him on a pure boxing sense, could be better in terms of where he could have gone, because his potential is that good. Nothing to do with him not being good. It's how good he is and how good he could have been. But, you know, that's down to him.
No, I agree. I would say that if he was to retire in 2025, a lot of people will be saying, yes, he's a great fighter. And yes, to a large degree, he's had a great career, made a lot of money, won a lot of world titles, got a big fan base, all the rest of it. But people will be saying we would have expected a little bit more given how talented he no doubt is. So, yeah, I agree with you on that one. But listen, Daryl, thank you so much, man. It's been a real pleasure talking to you on this show. We're going to do it again next week. We'll catch up with you then. In the meantime, everybody out there, thank you so much for watching and supporting the channel, LL Sports TV. If you're new here, please like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget my man, Daryl. He's got his channel, The Boxing Lowdown. You can check them out as well. So, yeah, thank you very much. Take care. Catch you on the next one. We're out.